My name is Catherine Butcher, a research fellow attached to the University of Roehampton, London, United Kingdom. I'm conducting research into heterodox forms of university ownership and control, governance, financing, and organizational structure. The aim is to provide students with a different educational experience in terms of cost, access, pedagogy, and curriculum design. And this project is part of a wider European Commission Marie Curie funded project called UNIKE, Universities in the Knowledge Economy, that looks at the changing roles and scope of universities in the global knowledge economy with emphasis on Europe and the Asia-Pacific rim. I have been going around the world, really scouting the world for different or alternative university models, because what I'm looking at is probably trust universities, less like social, from the social economy, such as trust, cooperatives, and employee-owned or worker-owned universities. And there are not too many models in existence, so I have been going around the world, scouting the world, looking for new imaginaries that probably I could adapt and adopt in different country contexts. So I visited 4 universities. So I conducted a site visit of 4 universities in Asia, Europe, and America. So that was between the period 2014 and 2015. I also conducted 50 interviews with management of these alternative models, with government officials, with academics and academic staff, as well as administrative staff. And I did 4 focus group meetings with students to really understand their experience, the teaching and learning experience for the students. And the reason for visiting those institutions is, again, to understand, look for exemplars, and to understand how they operate in terms of the governance, ownership, the financing, and also their organizational structure. What I found out is in 2 of these organizations, or in 2 of these institutions, students are heavily involved in the governance of these institutions. So more or less the students own these institutions. Yeah, and so they take part in all strategic decisions. And in one of these institutions in particular, the students are heavily involved in the curriculum. So they more or less design the curriculum, they say what goes into the curriculum, and they recruit the academic staff. And I recall asking the academics, how did they feel about students recruiting them? And they had no difficulty. As a matter of fact, they were very happy working with the students, because according to them, the students are very brilliant and intelligent, and they have never come across a set of students who are so committed. In one of the other institutions, other institution look at addressing the social injustices in the society, and they look at access and affordability. So students from lower economic backgrounds, the poorer you are, the more they will welcome you into this institution. But of course, in terms of your academics, you would have to have some good academic rating. So if, for instance, you are from a well-to-do economic background, they will not take you. It doesn't matter how high your GPA is, because they focus more on providing access to students who are unable to access higher education. And also this institution, students get a full tuition, and that is the home-based students get full tuition, and their students are also involved in a labor program that helps them to pay for their accommodation and other ancillary costs. And all international students get a full scholarship in this institution. Now, in the other institution that I mentioned earlier on, where I said The students also, well, they own the institution and they also design the curriculum. Students get a full scholarship. So it doesn't matter what your economic status is, you get a full scholarship in this institution. The only challenge so far is that it is only male students attending this institution presently. So they are now in the process of trying to see how they could alter the trust. So this is before the courts now, to try to alter the trust to bring in also female students into this model. Yeah, and so the universities where students pay for their education, they are employed at those universities. So this helps to offset the cost of their education. And one of them, the students are attached to cooperatives. So they gain experiences in the cooperatives as well. So my model really is looking at how I could get students and academics as well involved in the governance of the university, and also looking at affordability and accessibility. Because while we're hearing from government officials that more students from poorer economic backgrounds are now able to access higher education, the dent is not really great, because if you look at it, there are more students from well-to-do economic backgrounds who are able to access higher education than those from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. And Theresa May, the Prime Minister of the UK, recently made mention of that in one of her speeches, how it is more likely for students from higher socioeconomic backgrounds to gain access to higher education. So I'm trying to see how I could bridge that gap and to mainstream those deviances by making university education more accessible and affordable for students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds.